everybody. Alright, so I want to talk about model sheets and a quick little tip to designing characters and creating your own model sheets without doing any more work than you have to. So this right here is a Superman turnaround from the Superman Adventures cartoon. I didn't make this. This is actual production art. And I'm using this as an example because this is how I taught this little trick to myself. So around the late 90s, I wanted to kind of make my own little cartoon or something, and I wanted to do model sheets for all my characters. And what I did was model sheet is front, 3/4, side, back side drawing of each character. You tend to start with the front because it's probably easier to draw. And then what they would do is they would you'd use a ruler because they had to manually draw these back in the day, and just like I did. And then they would basically create a bunch of lines on paper and like this, line everything up, right? Chin to the tip of the head. And so what happens is, if we take this and start to sketch, then you basically have to like draw a head and then kind of draw the arms, right? Like create the center line and like work back. You would go, okay, this will be the waist, and then you got to measure out how big the waist is. This fucking takes forever. It's not fun. I hate doing model sheets. When I quickly realized I was spending more of my time just measuring every little tick mark out than I was figuring out how the character was designed, and if I made one change, and I had to go and measure every fucking thing out. So you could see that I don't like doing this. Here's my way around it. So when I was looking at these model sheets, something occurred to me, just visually, right? And what it was, remove these, is I looked at the 3/4 pose here and the 3/4 pose here. And I said, okay, I don't need a front and a side because I'm going to be drawing all the art. I just want to know that these characters are going to work in perspective. But what I noticed, looking at this specific drawing, 20 plus fucking years ago, was you see this shape here, his rib cage? It's the exact same shape as his rib cage here. And if you look at his groin area, right, it's the exact same width, and overall, like, the only difference between this and this is that it inverts. So this goes up and down, this goes down and up. And I was just looking at it, like, it looks like if I took, check this out, if I took this pose and I just made a duplicate and turn the opacity down, right? Like, it's kind of like, see if we can create a little bit of parity here. Kind of line it up. It lines up an awful lot. Can you kind of see how that works? Maybe if I put that so we don't have competing. Like, if you look, and if you're just, the shape is there. Look at the neck, the shoulder width, this. So using that as a basis, let me edit. I had to do this all with paper, by the way, back in the day. So I got a light box. Now I have Photoshop, right? Let's take this, same pose, turn the opacity down. We can turn off these lines. I don't need them. And then gotta like use your eye a little bit. Gotta like tweak your eye. So instead of this popping forward, just imagine this pops back and goes to the rib cage. And then if you move over, you got the center line where the spine would be, and it comes down. So then, you know, we would have the belt, and then instead of this way under, we'll this way over, and then we have this. And we can use this as a guide and pretend this arm is going back into perspective. And then, you have to learn how to draw hands. So I'd see the underneath of the hand here, the palm, the fingers. So that requires a little bit of photo reference or practicing drawing hands. But you can see it comes up to the neck. And if we just bring that up here and use this chin as a guide, then we can come this way. Now, you'll notice on their model sheet, the feet are separated on the reverse part. Remember that? That's because this is a weird angle to draw the feet at from the backside. And you can, as I'm going to show you here, it can work. How long did this take me? It took me a minute or two to rough that in. To rough that in. Let's look at theirs. Let's look at theirs. Now, my arms are a little bit fatter than they should be right here, right? But in minutes, you quickly have a reverse side. So, you're wondering, well, Rob, that's all fine and dandy for Superman. What about my own art? Well, I have already done that. So anytime I design characters, I like to create a base model. Usually I have a guy or a girl. In this case, it's a girl. And I'll design costumes and different things on here. But I've already made this using the exact same techniques. So here's the front part of her. And what I've done is, where is it? I've duplicated her right there. And then I sketched right over that duplication, right? Wow. Sometimes Photoshop just doesn't want to. Oh, I know why, because I locked the whole layer. So you can see I did an initial sketch. If you want to get the hands guided out really quick, you can also invert. You can reverse this and use those hands just as a guide. And you can see right there. I use that as a guide. And look, if you don't believe me, I can come right here now and do the same technique where this rib cage back here, this back here, you gotta like squint your eye a little bit and imagine it and just invert it. So this goes this way. This can come this way. However you want to do it. It can come this way, it can come this way. Depends on how you want it to work. And then you just pretend this is the back half coming out into perspective, wrapping around. And we would draw her heel on the ground. And the foot would come in like so. So this absolutely works. And then her boob would already be lined up there. And then we can go to her neck and pretend. And if you just keep going around that route, you end up with right here. See how that lines up? Now I changed her hand here so you could see the back side of it, this underneath. And again, I just flipped this hand this way. I used it as a guide and then drew the other side. I like to see the underneath of the hand right here. So front side, underneath side. That's just my personal preference. You don't have to do that. And if we clean that drawing up, one more step right there, and then it all lines up. You got a really quick, easy model sheet by just duplicating the front pose, turning on the opacity, and blocking in all of the spots. And I didn't have to sit here and use the ruler tool. I did this all in about 30 minutes or so, 30, 40 minutes. And look, she lines up, as well as their model sheets do. This is a technique that I just made my life way. By the time I got to college and I had to actually do animation, I was getting model sheets done faster than everybody. And then people look at me, how are you getting all this shit done? And I would sit there and show them, and they're like, I don't like, but the teacher. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what the teacher says. The teacher doesn't know, so I'd show the teacher, and my animation instructors would be like, well, that's pretty good. Never thought about it. So thought I'd pass it along here as I do character designs for Tom. I could show you some of the roughies that I did for him over the past couple of days. So this is for a book he's got coming out. So I have a smaller thumbnail version of these front poses, and then I give him a bunch of costume design samples, and then he picks and chooses what he likes, and then gives me some directions, and then it turns into this, which turns into this, and then he wants more changes, and then I do some back designs, and so we end up with this basic roughy will then get blown up, and a version of it will get painted right over this. So that's what I got to do today and tomorrow. There you go. Model sheet tips. 12 minutes. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. As always, I will be back on soon. We got color pencils, all sorts of cool shit to do. And that's that. Talk to you soon. Peace, everybody.